yours. Yeah, oh no is right. You want to go ahead and start? All right, everybody. We are starting our next Sweaty Live with Creekside Canine. And accept, go live. It's going to work perfectly this time. We're not going to have any hiccups. Look, she's on here already.
Yeah.
We did it!
Hi, Sarah.
I
You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I'm going to turn it up a little louder.
Imagine that. We did it.
Go figure. And we're only 5 minutes late. So you guys who've been waiting on the edge of your seats for this show tonight, it was only 5 minutes. Bear with us, but here we go. We're on and we're starting.
Everybody get on.
Yep. So while we're waiting for more people to jump on here, the topic of tonight is, Sarah, you put it very eloquently in your description. So I'm going to let you.
Let me go. Okay, guys, so you've been following our series here. I think it was like our second time I went on this wild talk about J-Jack window theory and the elements of play and like all this detailed information about how you can harness drive and how you can use play. So today what we're going to do is we're going to break that shit down a little bit. And we're going to talk about how to more specifically use play. And the big thing I want to focus on today is the elements of play and understanding the difference between, after watching the videos, what I want to really talk about is understanding the difference between the play window and the work window. So brief little recap. We operate, when we're talking about window theory, out of 4 windows. And this is how we transition our dogs and their mentality in life. So you have the play window, the have your own fun window, the enough window, and the work window. Tonight, what I want to do is I want to talk about play and work, because I think based on the videos that Lance even posted, that's going to be the biggest conversation. So for those of you who are watching, we're going to be talking about videos. If you would like to follow along and watch the videos, go to my website, creeksidecanine.com, and you're going to see 2 videos. Go to the video section, scroll all the way down to the bottom. You're going to see something that says lives. And there's going to be Windows with Harvey. And then there's going to be, it's a Heart and Soul. And we have all of their videos put into one thing here. And then we have my demonstration video up there as well. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So, yeah, creeksidecanine.com. If you would like to jump on there and watch those videos as we talk, go for it. And as always, if you have questions.
But watch them on another phone. Don't watch them on the one you're watching us on. Go to your computer, find your kid's tablet. Yeah, do any of those things. And we watched your demonstration as well, and we have some questions of our own. So
yeah, you posted it on her story.
No, not her demonstration. Her video.
Okay, her video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The video demos and your guys' stuff are all up on the website. I'm gonna be referencing them as we talk, so I can give you some moments to think about. I got some notes here. No, not at all. We do this with little dogs all the time. Get your Yorkshire Terrier out there. Have some fun.
We have one too, and we do a lot of training with this guy too.
Yeah.
He's actually a little bit more stubborn than the rest of them.
Boston Terriers right now.
Yeah.
I've done it with a Maltese. This is great for every single dog out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. This guy loves to play tug.
Yeah. Everything we're getting ready to discuss you can do with any
tear it up. Yeah.
Not just beautiful American Bullies.
This cute little face.
Pitches us right into the conversation of play and the different styles and how to adapt it to your dog. Like, that's what's cool about these videos, is because they did this stuff with 4 different dogs,
right?
And each dog, you see different conversation happening, but it's still kind of the same stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll try maybe to get a video of some of our little fellas doing this to throw up for you guys at some
We
point.
do one with our little.
Yeah, I wish I would have thought it. I really wish I would have thought that ahead of time, because I would have done it with him. And Herbie is 14 years old, but he would totally do it, just like all the other ones.
He's got as high a drive as the rest.
Yeah, he definitely has a high drive.
I just want to say one more thing. Our videos are on. I thought I pinned it. I pinned the thing, and it's
Yeah, you did
now.
pin it. Yeah.
Our videos are on
Creekside
creeksidek9.com, but also if you just click on our name here, you could go to our page and you can see all the videos there as well. We got them titled. You can see. Go ahead.
Yeah, so if you jump on the website for the purposes of tonight, though, because I put them all in one video.
Yes.
So we can just go
the whole thing.
Nice and easy. Yep.
Yeah, especially that's good for you guys who are watching this like tomorrow or the next day. You're not catching this live, because there's a lot of people that don't catch it live and watch it later. So definitely watch all those videos ahead of time, and you'll kind of know what we're talking about. But I'm really excited about this because I know there's so many people that specifically play the game of tug with their dog. And that's why I really wanted to focus on that specifically, and then add in all those other elements that you're talking about, Sarah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm pumped.
Hey, we got a lot of friends on here. I just want to say hi real quick.
Yeah.
On Code, good to see you. Ben, what's going on, man? I think we saw Hella's Bullies on here too.
Bullies,
what's going on?
On Code.
All right, let's jump in. I'm excited. I said at an awkward time while you were drinking.
Somebody's rocking out. Yeah, you want me to start?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure which dog you wanted to start with and how you wanted to go.
Well, I just want to say a couple general notes here about what we're doing. So we're going to focus primarily on tug, and we're going to discuss what's happening in the videos. And I think what we'll do is we'll talk about what's happening in your guys' videos, and then I can talk you through a little bit of what's happening in my demonstration. Ireland here, love this. Cool.
Hey, thanks for jumping on here.
Hey, Ireland.
So first thing I want to talk about is tug itself. So couple notes for people who play tug. As humans, the way we work, when we get a toy in our hand and we're going to tug with our dog, we do this, right? We do this the entire time. That's not a very natural thing for dogs. Dogs go back and forth. We also want to think about safety with our dogs because they're getting a good tight grip. This action, these actions, all of that stuff can cause strain on the neck. So if your dog jerks one way wrong, like you could have trouble with that, especially because dogs often are like flinging themselves. Like I saw Cupcake. That Cupcake was like 110%. And that's what Harvey's like too. So you want to think to yourself, when you're doing tug with your dog, go back and forth like this. Drag them, that's great. Lift them up, that's great. Try to avoid this action a lot. Try to avoid that whip back and forth with their neck. It's kind of the same reason why when you do the flirt pole, you don't go up with the flirt pole because we don't want our dogs leaping in the air. Now, if you do like a spring pole or something and your dog goes straight up, cool. But if they're going to jump and like invert their body in any way, we don't want that.
Even that, if we're doing spring pole, we don't want the back feet to leave the ground anyway.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. So when you're playing tug with your dogs, this is just a general note for everybody. When you're playing tug with your dogs, make sure we avoid kind of the side-to-side jerky motions and think to yourself, it's tug of war. It's rope tug, right? When you play tug, like a tug of war with people, you don't get one person on one end, another person on the other end doing this. You plant your feet and you pull, okay? So think of that mindset when you get a toy out and when you go to tug with your dog, this is a you win, I win, you win, I win. And that just segues us right into the whole conversation of what this is. So that's just the general note about the physicality.
I learned something already. I didn't, the forward, backward, noting it. Okay.
All right, cool. So I'm going to talk here about the videos now. So we start with Cupcake, right? Cupcake is our first one.
Yeah, and she's the reason that we wanted to figure out a new activity to do, because she's nice and calm right now, but often she's not calm, and we needed something to do that was kind of easy, that we can do indoors when it's 100 degrees outside. Absolutely. That we could do with her and to kind of chill that
like,
energy.
This is her game. Like she loves this.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could tell that right off the bat. So like just like the first couple seconds of this video, you see that when we talk about love language, like you tossed the toy and Cupcake was like, all right, well, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't care that you tossed the toy. So Cupcake doesn't want to fetch. She doesn't want to chase. She doesn't want to do that stuff. Cupcake wants to be physically engaged with you. So it's like, check the box right there. We figured that out. Cupcake needs to be involved with you in the game. The first thing that we're going to talk about, though, and this is going to go into every single video that you guys post, is what is the goal of the session? What are we thinking of? Are we in a play window? Or are we in a work window? Because when you start to interact with her, when you start to play, you're giving a command. You're saying bite. Mm-hmm. And bite means put the toy in my mouth, hold the toy in my mouth, and maybe do some tug action. And then we say out, and that task is done. So that is a task. That is you saying that based on the 6 elements of play, we're going to fight right now. This is what I'm telling you I want to do. I'm giving you the command to bite the toy, and we're going to do that, which is great. That's a great activity, but that's a work window activity, right? Because you're giving a task to Cupcake. She's following a command.
Right.
She's giving that task, and then she's ending it when you ask her to.
Right.
So there's no choice there. There's no option for Cupcake to go, this is how I do. I got to turn my TV off because I turned blue again. That's super annoying. I was watching Zombieland. So so there's no choice there. When we talk about play is opportunistic, meaning you have the opportunity to play. Do you want to play? Is this what you want to do? Let's do this. Work is inevitable. Work has to happen no matter what. And when I hold a toy out and I say bite, and then my dog doesn't bite, and we go bite, and I show that toy again, and then they put their mouth on it, and then they're rewarded with tug. That's working. That's hearing a command, responding to the command, and doing the action. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense, because that's one thing kind of we talk about with people who ask us about training, people who ask us about obedience. I always say in our home, the work, it never stops. The dogs they're always working. There's always some kind of a command, always some way to work.
You're living with Cupcake, and this is why I think we should watch the Harvey video real soon. When you're working with Cupcake, you guys were in the work window with all of your dogs. You guys were in the work window the entire time.
Yeah.
So you want to figure out and talk about, well, how do we open that play window?
Sure.
Because in the play window, there is no command. It's an opportunity. So I would say ready, and they go, ooh, wait a second, we're about to play. Work is now closed, and I have permission to play. And then get it, and then they get to choose what element. I get that toy out there. Well, maybe they want to engage. Maybe they want to tug with me. Maybe they want to go, oh my God, throw me that toy. Maybe they go, I want you to chase me. And that's when we're fully in play. But that is sort of their choice of how we want to do that.
Right.
So by giving like a solid bite command and having an expectation, if you said, because words really don't matter. I mean, you can say banana and your dog will come to you if you do it. So if bite is your get it, like for me, get it means game on. That's the green light. So I describe it as ready is start your ignition, right? That lets your dogs know here it comes. Get it, green light, we're going. So if bite is your green light to open the play window and let your dogs have fun, cool. But for you guys, what it seems like is bite means an action. Bite means
grab
that toy, right? Get it. So that's work, because you're dictating in that moment that that's the task. And when I think it was Voodoo or whoever didn't really have a bite, we were like, come on, that's what you're doing right now.
Tomato.
You're biting.
Yeah,
tomato. Yeah, so I want to talk about Tomato in 1 second, though, because Tomato's a great conversation. Yeah. So when, what was I going to say? So when I was, so that's the first thing in terms of what I saw with your videos was your dogs have an affinity for tug. Like, it's clear that out of the 6 elements of play. So just a quick recap, guys, in terms of what the 6 elements of play are. You have search, chase, fight, stalk, consume, and celebrate. Everybody gets to consume. That's when they get the toy and they get to have fun with the toy. And celebrate is when they get to celebrate with the toy.
Let her get the toy and chew on it for a minute.
So we'll talk about the celebrate aspect of this in a second. But all of your dogs, with the exception of Tomato, and we'll talk about that, were clearly showing you that fight is their love language. They wanted to tug with you and they wanted to engage with you, but the game was very limited because it was just, my dog is about to knock my camera over. Hang on one second. Hey, how about you go and you chew on your bone somewhere else, buddy? Go chew on your bone over there.
It's funny that you say that because I've never actually thought about it like that. To me, the act of pulling on the rope, getting excited, getting that reward, having fun, playing with it, because really they want us to pull on it with them. Usually they don't want to chew on it on their own. If I look at that like it's not really playtime, it's work time. If I think about it, I don't know how much playtime our dogs ever get because they're literally, even if we're playing fetch. Every time we play fetch, I always incorporate obedience.
Bring it back.
But that's okay. That's okay. If you are
fetch,
if you are playing fetch, right? If you're playing fetch and you throw the ball, that's chase. The dog runs, the dog gets the ball, brings it out to you, drops it at your feet. You do it again. Boom, boom, boom. That's engaged in play. If you're a dog, you throw the ball, your dog runs back to you, and you say out. They're not allowed to pick the ball back up.
Yeah.
And we're in work. That's work. You can transition from play to work in seconds. And the play window can be incredibly small or incredibly large. So when I'm training with dogs, my play window sometimes will be 10 seconds. Throw the ball, you brought it back to me, out, down, right? Play, work, just like that. So when you are playing fetch with your dog, you are engaged in the play window, but you're working the chase element, right? You're working the chase and the search element. Your dog wants that ball to be thrown and he wants to bring it back to you. So that is an element of play. That is absolutely play. And even the dog dropping at your feet and you picking it up, that's engagement with you.
Right.
That's the two of you playing the game together. But if I out my dog and they're not allowed to pick that toy back up, I'm in work. If my dog brings it to me, I say, sit, I'm in work. So because in your tug game, you were saying, bite it, okay? You were mixing mediums there because you were saying, bite it, and then you were going into this tug game.
Right.
So they weren't given the option to do anything else.
Yeah.
And also, you never cycled into the other elements of celebrate.
Right.
So when you watch the video, a couple of things happen, and this happens with all of your dogs. After a couple rounds, you find yourself going bite and having to shove the toy at them a little bit more.
Yep.
Right?
Yes.
And you kept saying, oh, well, they don't have any interest. Well, they don't have any interest because they never got to win the game. You know what I mean? They never got to win the game.
That makes sense.
So the way Jay Jack described it to me, he gave the greatest analogy ever. He was like, if you're playing basketball with a bunch of 5-year-olds, and every single time they go to score and you back on them, kids don't want to play with you.
Yeah, very true.
It's the same thing with dogs. We have to let them win. So the way you guys were playing, your work window and your play window were muddy. So the message wasn't quite clear. And we didn't give quite enough. Oh my God, she's cute. We didn't give quite enough opportunity for choices of elements to happen. And then there wasn't the moment of celebrate. But also, I'd love to see you guys to be physically engaged with them more. Like on your feet, moving around. That's play. When you're stationary and you're given a task, that's work. When you're up on your feet and you are invested and you are a part of the fucking game,
It's okay.
and you are a part of the game, that's how it's supposed to be. You're an active player in the game. So
So don't just sit there in the chair and tug on it. Get up, move around.
Yeah, a lot of these folks, your dogs, they were like begging you for it. When I'm watching those videos, Cupcake was like, "I'm gonna drag you out of the chair. Get up and engage with me." And the other thing that was cool, your dogs were very clear about what they wanted to do, because every time the toy went dead, every time the toy stopped moving, they stopped moving. They didn't, like, there were moments where you were like holding the toy out to them and they're like, oh, you said bite, fine, I'll put my mouth on it. The second you started making that toy alive, they were like in there, you know? So that just tells me that their love language is fight, but their love language is also, I want to grab that thing in my mouth and I want to shake it around and I want to just be totally engaged. And they want you to be engaged with them, because none of them took the toy and left. None of them were like, I don't really want to interact with you. I'm going to take my toy over here. They were like, here I am. Here's my toy.
Yeah.
Can we do this?
Yeah, exactly.
But then the second they started getting revved up, you kind of stopped, you outed them, and they went right back to work. And then it was bite, which is like, okay, well, this is how I'm supposed to do this. Oh, wait, maybe I'm getting revved up. Maybe this is out. Oh, okay. And then we lose interest because we're never winning.
Yeah. That makes very clear sense. When I do the flirt pole with them, and that's so funny, I never actually, I do it naturally, but I didn't realize that that's what I do, is when they're chasing the flirt pole and they finally catch it, I do always stop. And their reward is they get to stop, shake it, grab it, roll around on the ground, and try to chew it up for a minute. So that's something that I wasn't doing then. And I think part of the reason why I don't let them chew on the rope is they scissor it apart.
Well, yeah, they scissor it.
Yeah, they chew that thing apart like it's nothing.
That's why we don't let them.
Right, but that's because, all right, that's so cool. I love it. When they have that, they aren't in play. They're in the have your own fun window. When you're just like,
and their own fun is destroy.
Yeah, that's what they want to do. They want to do that. And so what does that tell me in that moment? I'm going to say, maybe not what we're doing right now. I'm either going to go back into play or I'm going to enough. So in those moments, I would let my dog have it. Like my dog, Harvey, I go through toys with him so much. But when I engage in this type of interaction with my dog, I have special toys. I have specific toys that are just for him, and they're good, strong bite toys. Either that, I have like a good bite toy, or Harvey wants to kill things, man. Like that's the prey drive. That's what he wants. And so I have these cheap ass raccoon toys that have squeakers in them. And sometimes he'll destroy one in one session. And that's fine. They cost like $10. You want to destroy the raccoon, man? That's cool. That's what this can be, as long as it's the right moment to destroy the raccoon. So that's have your own fun. So yeah, I think the big conversation with your dogs, we'll talk about Tomato in a little bit, was that your dogs were trying to engage and trying to move the game forward, but we're holding them back a little bit by just keeping them in work or shutting the play down before the play could really develop. And then you guys weren't quite as physically involved in the game. You were in training mode. Like I can tell by the way you're sitting, by the way you're interacting. You were totally in training mode, and that's fine, but that's where we have to expand what training is.
Gotcha.
And that at times training is getting up on your feet and acting like a silly idiot while you play with your dog.
Yeah, we saw your video.
Silly idiot, right? I look like a moron.
Well, I would never say that.
No.
Oh, but it's accurate. It's accurate. And Harvey loves it. Like, you need to learn how to act is what it is. Because like when you watch the video of me and Harvey, I'm like, oh my God, you're so strong.
Yeah.
What's happening?
I heard you saying
and
that.
then I'm like, I'm gonna get
is
you.
she like messing, like what? And then he was like, oh, she's saying that to like explain what she's doing. And I was like, okay.
No, I'm saying it because the whole point is when you work with these guys, the thing is, well, I always have the power. If I want to end the game, I can end the game. If I want to get the toy away, I can get the toy away. But if I play basketball with 5-year-olds and I constantly knock the ball away, nobody wants to play with me.
Right.
So it's really important that we both let our dogs win organically, like, oh, shit, you got the toy away from me. Now let me go and get you. But we also fabricate situations where our dog gets to win. And when you hear me going like, oh my God, you're so strong, oh, you win.
Yeah.
Well, that's allowing my dog
They're
to celebrate.
super
That's allowing my
excited.
dog to win.
Yeah.
And then you see me doing something called the victory lap, right? Did you see the victory lap?
That is
And how
totally new to me.
Yeah, it was new to me too. I always was like, oh, my dog's having fun. Cool, there, have the toy. Well, that's have your own fun, man. Awesome. But if I want my dog to win and celebrate, I'm going to actually help him with that. So instead of just being like, cool, you got it. I take the line. I'm like, nice job, buddy. Victory lap. And we run with the toy. And they're like, fuck yeah, I did it. I got the toy. Awesome. And then it's ready. Get it. And we're right back into play. Or it's enough, down, and we're into that. So remembering that the play element of celebrate is just as important as any other play element. So your guys were kind of missing, one, the opportunity to win, but the opportunity to celebrate the win. The win isn't celebrating. You get to celebrate the win.
So question.
Yeah.
The victory lap that you did, is it kind of like to like enhance like the prancing behavior that dogs do when they're like, I got it.
It adds energy to it.
Okay.
Think about like your praise voice with your dog. You go, hey, buddy, you did it. And your dog's like, I did, didn't I? Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's cool. So when I pick up that line, I'm like, man, you won. Let's go. That's amazing. And I do my lap. Like you saw him perk up. He still has the toy. He's still thoroughly engaged, but we're making it very clear that he did it. And he gets pumped and he's like, I did it. That's awesome. That's so cool. In this moment, I'm just having this moment of celebration.
Confidence.
Now, I don't do the victory lap every time my dog wins, but I throw it in there every now and then so that he can, thoroughly enjoy the moment. So yeah, like just being able to work that whole cycle instead of staying kind of trapped in training mode. And this is what the whole point is, right? Is that we as owners or handlers are conditioned that training is one linear thing. And that I'm in training mode and that I'm doing this and now I'm doing this and now I'm doing this and now I'm doing this. So when we talk about bringing play into the picture, it's pretty normal that play is stuck in what training looks like, as opposed to broadening what training looks like and adding in that new aspect of play. You guys were kind of trying to take the idea of play and sculpt it and mold it into what that more narrow concept of training was. And I have to emphasize there was nothing wrong with what you were doing. You were teaching a really solid, good bite command and then some engagement and then an out. Like it was a great obedience session. It was a really great training session. But then your dogs had those moments where like, I'm tugging. Oh, out, fine. So, yeah, they were ready. They were giving you all the green lights, and we were just sort of shutting them down a little too soon, and then not fully opening. And I mean, we can look at the video with Harvey, and I can talk you through that a lot more. And whoever you guys jumping on, we're showing the videos on my website, creeksidecanine.com. Go to the video section, scroll all the way down, and go to lives, and you will see the videos that I'm talking about right now. So that's what I have to say about. Well, Lady Bird didn't really want to have much to do with anything. That's what I have to say about. I want to talk about Lady Bird and Tomato in a second, but that would be my commentary on Cupcake and Voodoo in how they were playing. And I think we can look at the Harvey video and really kind of break that down a little bit more, and you'll see the differences that I'm talking about.
Yeah, in your Harvey video, I mean, that I could definitely see as you went through every element. Like, you had way more elements than what we had in ours. Ours was very less compared to that one.
Yours was a training session. Yours was a training session.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's everything we do is a training session.
Yeah.
It's talking to you, I'm realizing that. Like, pretty much everything we do is a training session.
Yours is what 80%, maybe more, of people do with their dogs.
Right.
And what we're trying to, you know, teach here is, you know what, guys, if you're on my website looking at videos, you know what you should also look at as I'm talking about this? It's called Gino Lesson. I think it's in there under full videos. So, Harvey, stop moving my camera. So why I brought that up is, yes, this is all fun and games, but where are the practical purposes of what I'm talking about? Well, it's about harnessing the drive. It's about giving your dogs the proper outlets. And when I do training sessions that are broken up by chunks of play, and what I mean by that is I'm bouncing back and forth from the play window to the work window. And when I'm doing that back and forth, I have dogs who are engaging with me, and I have dogs who are expressing themselves instead of just getting a reward for sitting or something like that. They do their work, and we're partying, and we're having fun.
Oh,
thank you,
great
person. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so what you're gonna do there, right? You're bouncing back and forth. And the reason I talked about the Gino video, Gino's this like awesome dog, but he is a bull terrier. So if anybody is familiar with bull terriers, it's in the name, bull. And Gino rolled into my lesson, and Gino's like, fuck this, I'm not walking. I don't care. I'm not walking. And you see in the video, I'm struggling, Dad's struggling, and then I say, we're gonna stop. I'm not gonna sit there and get into a leash battle, because I know what a bull terrier is, and I'm very aware that chances are, I understood what you're saying. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Totally understood what you're saying. So Gino plants his feet, right? And what am I going to do? Some dogs, I might be like training collar, pop, pop. Other dogs, I might be like, here's some food, buddy. Let's go. Well, Gino's a bull terrier, natural drive, natural instinct, tough dog. And he's glaring at me and saying, I'm not doing this. So I said, you know what? We're not going to get into this fight, man. Like, I'm not doing this with you. What do you want to do? What are you feeling? You want to play? Cool. I'm going to bust out my toy, and guess what, buddy? We are going to go to town for about 10 minutes.
I think I saw that video.
Yeah. I do the whole cycle with him, and guess what? I pop the leash back on him, and the dude's ready to walk. Yeah. He's like, actually, like, totally just like, fine, I'll walk. Because, one, the hamster wheel in my brain has settled down. I got to express myself in a way that makes sense to me. And now I know, well, if I work, there's an opportunity that I get to do that again. And so instead of fighting with Gino, instead of doing a lot of leash work, which I'm not saying isn't something you should do. Right. I work with dogs differently every day. I worked with a dog right before Gino where the option was, oh, you don't want to walk on a leash? Well, it's because you kind of don't know what you're supposed to do. So let me help you learn that. But Gino was like, I'm not walking on a leash because I don't want to. Talk to me in a language that makes sense to me. I talked to him in the language that made sense to him, and he's like, oh, sure, I'll walk. That's no problem. Let me know when I can play with that toy again, by the way.
Right.
So it all is, you know, one, it's just to broaden your dog's life. It allows you to interact with your dog in a whole other way, and it really just expands your dog's life, but it all has practical purposes too. So it's not just how do I play tug and have fun with my dog. It's how do I figure out how my dog likes to interact with me, love language, and use that to broaden my dog's life, to broaden my relationship with my dog. Because now you guys, you're saying, oh, we're always training. Well, now you have this whole other way of interacting with your dogs. And it's awesome. It also, guys, like, I got to tell you, as a trainer, you get burnout, right? Been doing this for almost 10 years and sit, stay, come, da, 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 da. When I started interacting, when I took these lessons from Jay Jack and I started incorporating this stuff into my play or into my training, oh my God, it got so much more fun for me too. Like, oh, I'm training. You guys ready to play? Let's throw down. Yeah. And it just, you know, you have these dogs who are like living in these frazzled mind frames. And when you can make it really clear to them, like, okay, we're working right now. Okay, you're free right now. Okay, you're playing right now. When I can make it very clear what I need from my dog in those moments, it makes life so much better for everybody.
Yeah. After listening to all this, I definitely feel like we are taking something, well, not taking away, but like not giving them the play element that I saw you give your dog when you were doing it. I mean, like
not in tugging, but in other things. They can play
Yeah,
other
it
things.
sounds like with Chase and
Yeah.
everything you are. And again, like there was nothing wrong with what you were doing. We can just broaden it.
Yeah.
We can
another
tap
layer
into,
we can add to it.
we can tap into what your dogs were telling you that they would like to do in that moment. Oh my God, look at her. She's like, I want to sleep, but I also need to be involved.
Yeah. She
right
needs
now.
to be, she wants to be inside me
Yeah,
right now.
she wants
So
to wear you.
this is her thing. She wants to like be as close as possible.
Well,
this is why we had to give her
right
extra
now.
energy release. Because yes, I love you.
All right, cool. Yeah, so any questions kind of about that before we kind of roll into some other aspects of all of this?
No, I like it. And I'm curious if you're asking us, I'm curious about how you feel about the ladybird and the tomato portion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
she's leaving. Okay. Slowly slugging up the couch.
She's gonna
reminds me of my old dog Nina so much. Like, it's just they're identical. It's great. All right.
This one.
Yeah, you may not have seen this one was underneath.
Sorry.
Sorry, just the front of your freaking the videos or the pictures that you guys put up where they're like hugging each other.
Yeah.
My dogs snuggle, but not like that. Harvey,
oh my God.
To, like,
our dogs. Have you ever seen the cartoon, The Croods? You ever seen The Croods?
No.
No. It's the kids' cartoon, Caitlin. Our dogs are the Croods.
Yeah, Hank, my American Bully. You know, he wants to be in there. Like he sleeps in the crook of my arm every night. And Harvey's the guy, like, he'll start with me and then be like, oh, I'm good. I'm going to go.
Right.
Yeah. Crate. And Hank's just like, cuddle me, love me.
Yeah.
Harvey. And Harvey's just like, no.
Yeah.
No. It's really funny. They're such different personalities.
Yeah.
Tomato, ladybird. All right. So if you guys are watching the videos with us and you're scrolling through the videos with on my site, we're now going to be talking about tomato and ladybird. So, ladybird and tomato. Before what am I saying here? Bite, giving command. I already talked about that. Another choice. I already talked about that. Okay. So, in these aspects of play, there's another part that I haven't touched base on yet. Okay? And I'm going to try to do this without laughing at the dogs in the background. What is happening back there? Okay.
It's kind of like Tetris. As soon as one moves away, another one just like piles on top.
I'll see if I can get my kids on camera in a little bit. They have bully sticks right now, so they don't really give a shit about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are other elements when you are not elements. I gotta use different words. There are other aspects of the whole play thing that we haven't even discussed yet, and I'm gonna keep going with the sports analogies, even though I don't know sports, but they were what was told to me. So I'm assuming this is correct. When you work with your dog, you have offensive and you have defensive. So offensive, you've got the ball, you're trying to keep the ball. Defensive, you're trying to get the ball. That's what the game is between you and your dog. You have the toy, I want the toy. I have the toy, you want the toy. So you have to figure out what is the best option for your dog. Does your dog respond best when they have the toy and you're kind of like trying to get in there? Or does your dog respond best when you have the toy and they're trying to get in there? And it's different for every dog. Right. Some dogs want to be offensive a lot more and some dogs want to be defensive a lot more. But when a truly balanced game, and you can see this with Harvey, in a truly balanced game, you bounce back and forth. However, when you have a dog like Tomato or you have a dog like Ladybird, you want to try to keep them on the offensive more. And that means you want them again? They have the ball. For it. Yeah. And I'm kind of trying to get it from them, but they have it.
Okay.
Because it cycles into the next part. You have supportive play and you have competitive play. Competitive play, I am on the field. I am on the field and I am engaged in the game and I am trying to win. Supportive play, I'm not on the field. I'm a cheerleader. So when you have a dog who is insecure, or you have a dog who doesn't really know how to play, we try to be in the supportive aspect. When you were doing this with Cupcake, you were competitive and you guys were offense, defense, da 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 da. What happened there, though, was it just stayed competitive, and there was no moment where you went, "Oh, cool, you have the toy, now you're offensive. Oh no, I have the toy, now I'm offensive." So we were missing that part, but you were competitive the entire time because that's what she wanted. Right. She wanted to compete with you. The moment you stopped, she was like, "Pick up the toy and do it. Like, what's going on?" However, when you looked at Tomato, you were instinctually doing some of this stuff. You know, she was just kind of like, and you even like took the toy sometimes and you were like sticking it in her mouth a little bit. And you were like, "Tomato, come on now, what's going on?" Mm-hmm. And she needed that. She needed some solid support. And eventually you did get her going with the toy. And we could have continued with that. We could have worked that more to get her really confident. One thing that you started doing, though, you started tossing the toy. And she enjoyed that. The toy brought back, and all of a sudden she started coming out of her shell. We figured out what her love language was there. She wants to chase. She's into chase. So we can use chase as a supportive measure to help her understand different aspects of play. So with Tomato, we're going, "You like that? Cool. We're going to do that. That's how you're going to engage with me. But I'm also going to be a cheerleader, and I'm going to help you figure out that this other element of play is really cool. And then I'm going to slowly start to become competitive with you in that. But I'm going to let you remain on the offensive and let you win." Right? It's like, "Oh my God, you got it. Good job, girl. You won. Oh my God. Oh my God, you won." And then she starts going, "This is really like a baby. Cool. Yeah. Right? This is really cool."
And this is useful for us because it's something we need to do is work on her confidence specifically. So that's very helpful.
It brings them out of their shell. And when you have dogs, too, who might be a little lackluster about general obedience skills, it really brings them out of their shell there. And then Lady Bird was just a dog who wasn't, like, terribly invested in it, but you did start to get her getting invested. And I think that if you had gotten up off your feet, because like I get on my knees, I'm like getting in there. Like if you'd gotten up off your feet and physically engaged with her a little bit more, I think you would have gotten her there. And again, there's always a scale. Like, oh my God, Harvey would have me hanging from the air if I could. Right. I'm not strong enough. But, sure. And some dogs want that, but then some dogs need it a little bit more gently. And when I'm working with clients, and you see this in the video, you'll often hear me go, "Help them out." And what that means is, fake a win for them. So this is a big thing. If the person who has the Yorkie is still on, this is huge when you're working with little dogs and when you're working with puppies. Because if I'm doing this with a Yorkie, guess what? I can do this. I'm going to win every single time. But if I keep knocking the basketball out of their, and I'm not letting them score, who wants to play? So especially if I'm teaching a dog. So it's really important to help them out every now and then. And when you're working with a dog like Tomato, who is hesitant about what is going on, you want to be supportive. You're the cheerleader. You want to make sure that you're letting your dog win. You're helping them out. And you want to make sure that you're allowing them to remain on the offensive, and slowly building to everything else. So it's cool with your dogs. And again, guys, like, jump on the videos. Like, I really encourage you to jump on these videos on the website because
our friend with the Yorkie is still in here for the record.
Hey, friend with the Yorkie.
Skeeter.
Yorkies unite.
They have such different dogs doing this. And it's a really neat combo of the dogs that they're doing this with. And I'd be really curious if for the next time you guys take some new videos and see you guys applying some of this stuff, and we can move forward further with that.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
we're definitely going to do that.
Yeah, definitely. One thing I wanted to say is too, because we got a lot of comments on the series of the 4 videos. It's like, why haven't you played tug with your dogs for over a year? Or like in Tomato's case, she's just 1 year old. Why haven't you ever played tug? And so we have kind of a few different answers for that, just because of our living situation. We have 2 young children. So we did play tug when she was like 8 weeks old, but after that stage, I'm saying this is our excuse. I'm not saying this is the right idea.
This is what we do.
This is what we did just because we didn't want our kids having their hands too close or the dogs, you know. 100%. So that's why we chose to not do tug.
So I'm so glad you brought that up, actually. Like anything.
But real quick, one more thing.
Yeah.
I just want to stress the importance of tug when you are doing temperament testing on your puppies, when you're trying to learn their drives and their temperaments, and that is when we do use tug for the record.
That's like a great thing to bring up because my AirPods. Can you still hear me? All right. These might die in a second. Because everything in dog training, there are loopholes to everything. You will say one rule and then you immediately say something different.
Right.
But the thing about tug is it can go south if you don't know how to properly manage it. But that's the same with everything. Yep. So a nice example of this is we love to play fetch with our dogs. Well, how many people have ever played that absolutely, am I gone?
No, you're good. You're clear.
Sorry, I was staring into your eyes.
Well, because I hear it beeping at me, and it's telling me you're going to lose me soon.
You're good.
Played that annoying game of fetch with your dog, and you're like, all right, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. And the dog's like, I want to continue, ball. You're like, I'm not doing this. No, ball. I want to do this, ball. Well, that's annoying. And it's the same with tug if it gets too out of control and you're like, this has gone somewhere, I don't want it. I don't want to do it. Or your dog's like hitting you with that toy. Tug with me, play with me, play with me. Well, guess what? Your dog is in the play window and they have not been turned off. So that's where the concept of windows is so cool. Because if I'm tugging with my dog, I'm engaged in a tug game with my dog, it is allowed in that moment. But the second I say enough, or a second I put my dog into a down, it is over.
Right.
And that toy is not in play. I can take that toy, I can throw it in the air, I can drop it on the ground, I can do whatever I want with it. It's not in play anymore. So by learning these windows and by your dog understanding that the play window is a specific opportunity, and if they misuse that opportunity, it can go away. But also for them understanding when it's done. So that way you could be playing tug and then your kids come into the picture and you're like, oh, well, I don't want this happening when kids are here right now. And I say enough and it's done.
Right.
And that's where the cycle of this stuff is so important. Because if we're letting our dog just live in this play window, or if we're letting our dog live in the have your own fun window, then you get that dog who's being pushy or rude, or like just too hectic because they're just fucking around and they're just doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
But when I make it very clear, we're playing, we're not playing, then the dog goes, oh, you mean I'm not doing this right now? All right, that's cool. I'll wait for the opportunity to do it.
Yeah, and this leads us back to another thing we talked about earlier was knowing your dog and understanding its thresholds.
Yeah.
You got to know that your dog is ready for an activity like that, especially like in our situation if they're going to be doing it with little tiny children.
So would you say also, like with small children in the house, would you say that if you're telling the dog to turn it off at that point, you're saying enough, like, oh, the kid walks in the room, all right, I want this game to end? Would you say that could be kind of like a button, like, hey, look, the kid's here, that's it, end of game, done?
You can think of the as like an enough button. Oh, I hit the enough and we go, oh, all right, we're not doing this anymore. And you know, it's like the conversation about children and dogs is like an important I'd love to do a whole live just talking to you about your kids.
100%. We have some examples.
Because there's just like, as a trainer, like that's one where you got to take a deep breath and be like, all right, we're all going to talk civilly about this because, man, like I see things on the internet and I'm just like, I see pictures, and I see what people are doing. And then I get dogs that come to me with these bites under their belts, or I get dogs who like, they got to rehome because they, you know, snapped at my kid. Or like vice versa, where I'll be like walking down the street and this child comes running up, doggy, doggy, doggy. And I'm like, what, stop, you can't do that. And the parent's like, oh, it's all right, don't worry about it. Or I'm like, where is the parent? So that like conversation about when to turn things on and off with your dog in relation to kids is such an important conversation, because there's this major misconception about what kids in the relationship between dogs is, in terms of, one, what's appropriate to do, because it's like, how do you respect your dog and you respect their space, but like also how do you defend your dog? And that's like a really important conversation, and it goes into a whole other topic that I want to talk about sometime, and that's having your dog's back and what it means to build trust and have your dog's back. And now I'm spiraling off into other.
No, it's okay.
That's good. We need to write these down.
We do need to write that down, because we've been in that situation several times about having the dogs back, especially with kids involved, because sometimes kids can
like I told I was down like at first Saturday, and I'm training with these dogs, and literally, guys, I was walking a dog with a muzzle. Like, this dog has a muzzle on.
Right.
Like, what part of this picture looks at all like anybody? And this little girl who's probably, 10, 15 feet away from her mom at the time comes running up to me, doggy, doggy, doggy. And I had to like physically put myself in front of her. And I said, honey, no, not right now. And then mom comes up and is like, what's going on? I was like, she can't pet my dog. Like, she needs to, she's like, oh, honey, stop. I'm like, I need you to actually take her back. Like, I need you to give me space. And the mom was like super, super indignant about this. And when I'm holding a dog's leash, I am the fucking advocate for that dog, because I'm not going to allow a dog that I'm working with to have their life screwed up because a kid comes running in and gets bit, and then this dog, one, you've traumatized the child. And this dog, I mean, like, it's one of the hardest things as a dog trainer. Like, I'm dealing with a situation right now that's devastating, and I'm going to have to, tell a client that it's just not, I've had to do this multiple times where you have to have that honest conversation. And the kid always has to come first. There's no other option. The kid has to come first. But it's so frustrating when the dog has been put in that position. And it's not the dog's fault.
It's not their fault.
We've been in similar situations.
Kids and dogs is a hot topic right there. And there's so many ways to do it right, guys. I mean, you're a perfect example. Like, it can be done. Your kids can live harmoniously with your dogs. It can happen. Speaking of which, here's my kid. Come here, baby. Everybody say hi to Hank.
Oh, Hank.
Hi, honey.
Oh, happy God.
I don't know what to do now. I'm going to hug. What you doing, buddy?
Say hi.
Yeah, so for folks who are watching, everything that I've just talked about, there's a video on my website that breaks it down, and kind of should see what I'm talking about. You can see what these guys are doing with their dogs, and then next week we can take another look and sort of see the growth there, I guess.
We'll have to do some more videos with our kids, kind of like in situations that we require ourselves to train our children. Because
there are many of them. I can't tell you.
It's
especially
insane.
with the young boy.
I mean, there's a big reason family training is a big part of what I do. Because
let's talk about that.
Oh, sure. So, it's important to train the dog, but you also have to train the family. And hi, baby, what are you doing? And what? Oh, okay. Yes. Give me a couple more minutes, though, buddy. Couple more minutes. And when I work with families, I worked in theater for a long time, and I worked with ages like 5 through 15. And you have to learn how to talk on kids' levels, but you also have to learn how to teach the parent to communicate to the kid, because it's very different than you would normally communicate. And then the easiest way that I have found to teach kids is to give them games to do. So if I can teach my kid to place the dog and to do very simple place drills with the dog. Well, that's a positive way. It's a lot harder to tell your kid, don't roll around on the floor and roughhouse with the dog. It's a lot easier to say, hey, why don't you go do a place drill with the dog, give them some treats, and work these fun activities. That can replace the rolling around and getting put in situations.
And I don't know if you do the same thing, but one thing we also do with our dogs is we establish rapport, but also respect with the kids and the dogs.
Yeah.
And one way we do that is we have them, when it's feeding times, we feed once a day. Say hi.
Hey.
So when we do our feeding once a day, we'll have the kids feed the dogs, and they'll carry around the bowls. And again, with the obedience, we even do obedience with feeding. We have the kids do obedience with the dogs with feeding. If the dogs do not do what they are required to do, unfortunately for that meal, they don't eat. So that helps to build that rapport and build that respect.
Yeah,
and we do the same thing actually with our own dogs, with ourselves.
It's important. There's a pecking order, right? There is a pecking order in the home, and it's really important for the dog to understand.
Yeah.
They're actually on the box. It's not mean they're not loved. It doesn't mean you don't love your dog. You don't have a good time with your dog. But it does mean that even the 1-year-old is above the dog.
Yes, and it needs to be established early from day one.
Dogs are pack animals, and again, I'm digressing here, but dogs are pack animals. They are. You have to remember, dogs are dogs. They are not people. They are not kids. They are dogs, and their brains work differently. And if your dog is in your pack and nobody is saying, hey man, I'm the boss here, they're going to automatically default into that position. Yep. And that's being your dog's mom, but also being the dog's boss. And you have to be both. Okay. Like this is my buddy. I love you so much. But guess what? If I told this guy to get off the couch and go lie down, he's going to do it. Right? He's with me now because this is where I'm saying he can be. And look at this love. There's nothing wrong there. We love each other so much. But guess what? Now we're done. Stop.
Yeah. Right. And too much of the kissy kiss, huggy huggy can cause real big issues down the road.
We had to make on that note. There's so many there's so many tangents we could go off on. On that note, though, we had to make an exception with this one, because he's 14 years old. So we had to make the kids, semi-submissive to this dog. Like, hey, you got to give this dog space because he's half blind and half deaf,
I want to jump in because somebody just asked a question, and whoever this person is, I'd love for you to tune in when we do just a conversation about kids. But your question was, at my 5-year-old, when he hugs him. I don't know if you can type fast. I'd love to know what type of dog you have. But here's the thing about that, guys. This is where it comes down to having your dog's back. A growl is how your dog says, I don't like this. A bite, you're gone too far. If my dog growls, it's him saying, hey, excuse me, I'm giving you the warning sign, and I guarantee you might not be able to see it, but there were warning signs before the growl. You probably got a little side eye. He probably, closed his mouth. There's so many warnings. That growl, that's when your dog's going 1, 2, 3, the growl is number 3. I have a 10-year-old Lhasa Apso and a 6-month-old bully / Cocker Spaniel. Fun. Cool. So if my kid is in there hugging my dog, that means my dog is telling my kid in that moment, like, this isn't cool. I don't like this.
Right.
I don't punish a growl. I don't punish a growl. I say, I hear you, man. If it is a situation that I can stop and that's appropriate to stop. If I'm walking down the street and my dog sees somebody, I'm like, no, we're going to address that. But if my dog is put in a position and it is telling you, I don't like what is happening, then I say, I hear you and I'm going to stop this. And if this is something that happens repeatedly, if your kid goes in there to hug your dog and every time the dog is like, I don't want this to happen. Then your kid should not be hugging the dog like that. And you are putting your dog in a situation there.
Right.
That sounded, I'm not mean like you. The dog is being placed in a situation and the kid is being placed as your dog's advocate. You got to get in there and you got to stop that. So in that situation, I want to talk about this just because that's a dicey situation.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Well, I mean, you're being an advocate for your child too, because it's your job to see that growl and say, oh shit, I got to get the child away from the dog. So the dog is in a safe space and the child is in a space.
Some big complicated training solution. Sometimes the solution is stop what's happening.
Yeah.
But that goes to the conversation. Then people are like, oh, well, how does my kid hang out with my dog? How does my kid express love? How does my kid get to do this stuff? What's your dog's love language, man? Like, does your dog like to play ball? Does your dog like a flirt pole? Depending on how old your kids are. Does your kid want to play some place games with your dog? Yeah. Want to teach that dog paw or like roll over? There's a lot of ways to play and interact with your dog that makes sense to your dog, and ways to help your dog express themselves, and help your kid express love. But we have to remember that our dogs are living, breathing, sentient beings, and they will tell you. Your dogs don't go 0 to 60. It doesn't happen. There are 50 cues there before the dog goes to 60. Now, not everybody is trained to see them, but you have a really good dog. You do. Yeah. You're a really good dog because your dog is saying, excuse me, hey, guys, I don't like this.
He's giving you signs. He's giving you warnings.
So get in there, have your dogs back, teach your kids at a very early age, guys, we don't do this, or this is how we listen to our dog. And I'm telling you, if you can teach those skills at a young age, your kids are going to benefit from that so much.
But also, before we move on past that, I still want to continue. I spoke on it just a second ago. It's important for you to protect your dog, but it's also important for you to build that respectful relationship between your dog and your kid. So, Sarah, if you disagree with me at any point, please speak up, and we may have,
100%. I don't do personally the withholding food thing, but it's a valid thing to do.
We do it, and it has worked miracles on more than one occasion.
I don't live in a house with 3. You have 3 kids, 2 kids?
Two very little ones. One really super wild one.
Yeah. So, Cupcake. Oh, okay. Thank you. I have an older dog with older kids and now 5-year-old with a new pup. Thanks for the advice. You got it. Absolutely. Setting up proper dynamics,
boundaries,
because it's different for every household and it's different for every kid and it's different for every dog. And that's where it's
different for every trainer.
Yeah, and that's where it could get really tricky because, so some things that I might do that are different from other trainers is you saw my dog was just on the couch with me, rolling in my lap. They both sleep in bed with me, and trust me, that gets a little tricky sometimes.
Agree with you.
It gets a little tricky at times. But hey, if you don't want to sleep in the bed with the dog, so bye. Sorry.
I'm not allowed to anymore. I used to. It was the best time of my life. It was great. Yeah. I can imagine this whole pack in my bed. It sounds like just a dream.
Then I'm on the couch.
Yeah.
Oh man, now I lost my train of thought. Oh,
sorry. My bad.
Sorry, I was like, ooh, beds. You have to figure out what the rules of your household is, and you get to choose those. You get to decide if your dog's on the couch, and I don't care. I really don't. However, if I say get off the couch and your dog looks at you like fuck you and won't get off the couch, that's a problem. If your dog's on the couch and you sit down next to your partner and the dog gives you side eye, that's a problem.
Yes.
If your dog's on the couch and another dog walks by and the dog growls, that's a problem.
Right.
Everything your dog gets in life is an earned privilege.
You have to be the one in control.
If my kid has a cell phone and is abusing the privilege of having a cell phone, he doesn't get the cell phone. I don't go and be like, okay, don't do this. Da, 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 da. Hey, buddy, what were you doing with that? No, dude, we're not going to do that. And I take it away. Everything is an earned privilege. And if your dog abuses the privilege of the couch, if your dog abuses the privilege of the bed, get it out of there. And this is where you need to have a good trainer, because a good trainer is going to tell you that. A good trainer is going to tell you that's a bad situation, stop. And a really good trainer is going to tell you before it even happens, because a really good trainer is going to get to know your dog and is going to tell you, yeah, I don't think that's a dog that you should be giving that privilege to. But again, it's hard to know sometimes. You know, you gotta feel your dog out. You gotta, you know
know your dog. You gotta know your dog. That's so important.
And you know, you gotta learn how to speak dog.
Right.
Unfortunately we apply a lot of human traits and a lot of human thinking to our dogs. And that's how you get sticky situations. And I
can tell you specific experience. Yeah.
You don't love your dog, and this doesn't mean you don't shower. I mean, you just saw me with Hank. Like, he's my baby. I love him to death. But he has problems. Like, Hank used to fence fight really bad. Hank is a reactive dog. Like, I probably won't have another dog.
We need to talk about fence fighting.
Yeah, it's another good topic.
Yeah. Well, hey guys, you want to know what I did about fence fighting? Is I got my hose and I sat outside in my chair and you let your dog in and out, and every time I sprayed Hank in the face. And Hank, I don't like that. And my dog doesn't fence fight anymore. But that's because he's just being a brat with his fence fighting. That's not going to solve everything.
Right.
But anyway, you can have a loving relationship with your dog, but you can also have an appropriate and structured relationship with your dog. And that's where the difference between having a loving relationship and having a healthy relationship comes into play.
Yeah.
And it's hard. It is hard. And that's why I try to have so much empathy when people bring these situations to me and not judge, because it's hard. It really is hard to set certain boundaries with the cute little squishy face baby. But they aren't babies. That's the thing. They aren't babies. And there's a difference between asking your dog to do something and telling your dog.
And sometimes you let your dog push you to a level that you weren't at before, and then sometimes you have to go back and say, you know what, this is, it's moved to a point where it's not okay anymore, so we have to kind of go back and start over again, and that's okay. That's okay.
Here's the other thing, because like I said, I do a lot of family training. Yeah. I swear, like 80% of my job is being a therapist, like a marriage therapist, everything. Like, so like, I can't tell you how many times I get families in there and dad's going, well, we're going to do this. And mom go, well, I don't let him do that. And dad goes, oh, well, no. And then
constant. What? It's constant. We do it all the time. We do it all the time.
There's no gray area with dogs. They can't be allowed on the couch Tuesdays and Thursdays, but not be allowed on the couch Mondays.
Oh, we just had that today because we are in a state right now where this one, because she's now starting to see the squirrels outside. She's getting like very intense about the squirrels outside. And so she's hyping the other dogs up. And so we are now kind of like, okay, we're going to call each dog by name and have them have their turn to go out the sliding glass door, because if not, they all rush out all together. And I swear to God, Ladybird does not care about her own shoulders or body, because she will squeeze through and just slam her body. Anyway, so we just had that argument today because I didn't do it, and you were like, Leia, be consistent. And I was like,
wow, I got this on video for the record. I'm saving this. This is going on my phone. I'm going to watch it later.
Be consistent. And it's so important.
Yeah.
But y'all gotta have
so important. So important.
Not easy. And if you go to a trainer and they're just like, well, just do it. This is easy. Like, why aren't you doing this? Fire your trainer, because it's hard. And the other, it's difficult when you have multiple people in the home. Because everybody operates a little differently. but consistency is key. It sure is. And what I was about to say is, if one person is super consistent and the rest aren't, you get, God, this is why I'm talking about marriage therapists over
It's
here.
so much fun,
Yeah, you're exactly right, Sarah. I mean, you should have a degree in therapy.
You get really unbalanced relationships with your dog. And this is something I deal with all the time, where we come in and I have a couple and the dog is like, I'm gonna we're gonna, be the boss. We go for our walks, we do all this stuff, and then the owner says, well, I don't understand why he listens to him but he won't listen to me. And I'm like, well, when you walk him, do you walk him this way? He's like, no, I let him do this, I let him do that. It's like, okay, well, when you're home and he does, no, I don't do this, well, then there isn't consistency, because it's not consistent if one member of the family is doing something but the other isn't.
Right.
And that's why you got to train as a family. You got to make sure every member of your household, hey baby, that every member of your household is on the same page.
Yes.
And
Amen.
Again, it's advocating for your dog. Like, I can't get mad at my dog for jumping on somebody if 15 minutes ago somebody was letting my dog jump on somebody. This person,
right?
Conversation with customers all the time, right? It's crazy. Every time I get these folks coming in, and I feel like half my challenge is just in the consult, figuring out who's doing what with the dog.
Right. Who's in charge?
I say in the consult, I'm like, cool, we're going to do another consult. Here's your homework. You're each going to go home, and without talking to one another, you're going to write down your routines with your dogs, and you're going to write down your priorities with your dogs. Because I get people in all the time, and the dad's like, I'm going to walk like this, and the mom's like, oh, I don't really care about that, but I care about this. And, they're contradicting each other. Mm-hmm. So I often homework assignment up, don't talk to each other. Go and write all this stuff down, and then we're going to come back and we're going to see how we can get you on the same. We're going to see what are you doing the same, and we're going to find out what the goals are that both of you want and how we make that work, so that we'll all be communicating with our dogs. But I really encourage family training. I think it's important in the early process for one person to focus on the dog so that the dog can learn. But once the dog has a pretty good understanding, I think it's really, really important for every member of the family to get in there. And with family training, depending on how old the kids are, it's really important for parents to learn very early how to read their dog. It's so important for parents to know how to read their dog.
Yeah.
And no judgment, guys. It's something you learn how to do. Like, you're not going to read your dog.
And you learn through experience. It's.
But if you don't want to learn through bad experience.
No. Yes. Yeah. Bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I have that'll have dogs who, and they'll be like, oh, well, we'll manage it. We'll do all this, and then they have a 2-year-old running around, and you get this dog who's really. And what I tell them is like, well, what happens if 364 days of the year are fine? It's that one day. It's that one day, and that one day can change everything. So you have to always, learn your dog, know what's best for the kids. And sometimes there's that really, really hard and difficult conversation that this isn't manageable, or that it's too risky for the kid. But that's rare. I don't have that conversation a lot.
Right.
Because it is rare. If we get dogs in the right homes, unfortunately, we get a lot of dogs who are put in the wrong homes. And that's like a whole other problem in the world, dogs being put in the
That's something that we have to constantly think about, people when we talk to them about, what are you looking for in a dog? If you're looking for a couch potato, I'm not going to give you a dog. I'm not going to let you go home with a dog that's got super high drive that I don't think is going to be in a good situation in a home like that.
I have a lot of sympathy right now, too. I always have sympathy for the rescue, man. But I have a lot of sympathy right now because there are certain breeds who ending up in rescues because homed wrong. And I see this a lot with shepherds right now. I've dealt with the last 6 months 3 shepherds, 1 who got from a breeder and 2 who were from rescues, and they're placed in homes. 1 was placed in a home with like 7-year-olds and a 6-year-old crazy shepherd. 1 is in a home with little kids, and due diligence wasn't done, and these dogs shouldn't be in these homes. But the problem is there's so many dogs like this that need to be in homes, and it just gets so tricky. And I have so much sympathy for the rescues that are trying to get these dogs into the right homes. But it's where it comes down to. Sometimes you can't do anything about it. Sometimes it's a mistake and you have to address it. But like, it comes down to owner responsibility. If you have 4 kids all under the ages of 6, I don't know if that's mathematically possible, but if you have a bunch of young kids, don't go get 8-month-old German Shepherd.
Belgian Malinois.
Don't do it. Be responsible. Do your research. Like, I think I told you about the client that got a Shiba because he looked like a little fox, right? Do your research and get something in your home that is going to be compatible. If you have a 4-year-old dog who has dog aggression, don't go get a 10-week-old puppy. Like, make the smart choices. Think about your home. Think about your family. Consult people. I've been consulted by many dog parents, many people who are looking to adopt, and I said, don't do it. That's not the right choice. Don't do that. And do your research. If you Google German Shepherd, if you Google Malinois, you're going to find out in 5 seconds whether or not that dog should be in your home. But it's not always about a breed, right? Sometimes it's not the right time for a puppy.
Right.
Like, sometimes you just have to be realistic. And I know, like, I want a puppy that my kids grow up with. And sometimes it works great. I grew up with a puppy, like, it worked great. But there were rules and there were boundaries, and I learned very quickly how to interact. So, puppies are hard. I had a puppy in a really long time, and then I got Hank because I was bored during COVID, like so many. And I'm like, I'm a dog trainer. I got nothing to do right now. I'm going to get this little knucklehead, and I'm going to train him, and he's going to be my buddy because I'm bored. And then I remembered when I got Hank what it was like to have a puppy. And it's like, usually I send the puppies home at the end of the day, and now I'm going outside, and I'm standing outside. This motherfucker puppies
every 3 hours.
They're so rewarding, but they're hard.
Mm-hmm.
So you just want to use good judgment. Talk to people, do your research, set boundaries, have a healthy home life. Just remember, the biggest thing to remember is they are dogs. They are your kids.
I mean, that's even one of the things we talk to people about. Like this winter, we're having 2 litters, and one of them is Voodoo's. Hopefully, as long as everything goes fine. But this dog and Cupcake are 2 completely different dogs.
Yeah.
So they have 2 completely different personalities. And if somebody is coming to us and saying, kind of a bad angle there, but if somebody is saying, I want a dog that I want to cuddle and I want to, I don't know, lay around and enjoy my life. I myself am not very active, then I'm definitely going to gear you towards this one rather than Cupcake. So, I mean, even with the breed.
We want you to have a Cupcake puppy.
Yes, we do.
We've
got a spot.
I'm so glad we brought that up. Owner responsibility, right? I have a dog who struggles with other dogs. He got kicked out of daycare. He has a couple of friends who he's friends with, but I know it would be so irresponsible and not fair to Hank to bring a dog into my home. And as much as I would love to have another dog, especially because Hank was supposed to be my company demo dog, but he's not very smart. And he doesn't, he's not really able to do what a company demo dog needs to do. But I know now, even when Harvey passes, I won't get another dog.
Right.
Because what's right for Hank. And I'm not going to put Hank in a situation where I want it he might get in trouble or another dog might get hurt.
Yeah.
So yeah,
or that
it doesn't
other dog in a situation where you take that dog in, you really hope it works out, but you get it, you give it this beautiful, amazing, wonderful life, but you can't keep it because of Hank.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. It's not always about what you want, guys.
Absolutely.
That's for you and your dog. And you know what that means? That means I'm just going to love this knucklehead even more, and we're going to have so much fun. Yes, we are. Because it's just fun. We're going to have a good old time. Owner responsibility is so important. Kids' boundaries, all of that, so important. There's so many ways that your kid can healthily and positively interact with your dog.
Yeah.
And just, God, being your dog's advocate. Trust and advocacy, all of that is so important. It's a part that's missing a lot. Like when, and this is I won't go too much into this because we can talk about it another time. Like when you have reactive dogs, fearful dogs, and all this stuff, such a big part that is often missing from training. And I'm going to like real quick, do a name drop again real quick. Tyler Muto, great trainer. He taught me all about this, is having your dog's back. And if my dog is being reactive to another dog on a leash, yes, I need to tell my dog this behavior is not acceptable. We're going to work through this. But I also have to let my dog know, hey, buddy, I have your back, and I do understand you're telling me that this situation is messed up and you don't like this. And I see so many trainers like, you're in a heel, you're going to focus on me, and we're going to walk right past that other dog. And if you respond, we're going to have a conversation about that. And what I do instead is I say, hey, bud, this response that you're doing, don't do this, man. Like, let's learn how to walk. You don't do that. Oh, but you want a buffer space? You don't want to walk right past that dog? Cool. We're going to swing out a little bit, and I'm going to give you space. Oh, you're uncomfortable with this? Cool. Let me get you comfortable.
Right.
There's a difference between operant condition. And the reason there is a difference is because one is based on action and one is based on emotion. And if my dog is telling me he's uncomfortable with something, my dog doesn't like the kid hugging me and he's making it clear, I have my dog's back and I am going to stop that situation. So yes, it's give them a different way to think about things. Yep, exactly. If I'm telling my dog, you got to go for this no matter what, that's not helping him think differently, and that's not helping him understand the situation. That's suppressing him, and I guarantee it'll come out in other ways. But if I tell my dog, hey dude, that's not an okay response, like you can't have that response, but don't worry, I've got your back, this is okay, hey man, let's walk past this, here's some food, let's give you a little space, maybe I'll use my clicker, and I help my dog build positive association while giving them space. Here's what happens. Your dog, I told you I wasn't going to go on a tangent, and I did anyway. Your dog starts to understand you have their back. And then they go, oh, well, my person's got my back. Cool. I can go a little closer. I can walk closer to that dog because I know the second my human says, or the second I tell my human I don't like this, they're not like, cool, buddy, let's go. And it's like, oh, shit, they got my back. I can go closer. And you get the dog who organically says, I can walk near that other dog. I know the response is inappropriate, but I also know that if I get uncomfortable, my human's there for me. And I feel like that trust aspect of things is missed sometimes because we're so laser focused on the dog doing the task, and we want the dog to do the task. I want my dog to sit in a sit stay while the other dog walks by, and my dog is sitting there going, oh my God, I'm so uncomfortable right now. I don't like this. I'm so uncomfortable. So why, while the other dog is going past? Like, why? What is that getting anybody? Why not say, hey, buddy, I get it. I'm going to slide out of the way a little bit. And obviously, there are going to be situations where you don't have room to slide out of the way. But trust me, if you can get your dog to trust you and get your dog to understand you and know that you are there to support them, and oh my God, the differences that you're going to see in those situations is amazing. And I guarantee you, friend, that if you get your kid to stop hugging your dog and start doing other things, the relationship between the dog and your child is only going to be better.
Also, have your kid work obedience with your dog too.
Well, yeah, that's what you're saying.
Sit drills, all kinds of stuff. There's so many. And don't tell your kid you're doing training. Right. Don't tell them. Just say, hey, you want to go play a game? Let's play a game with our dogs. When I work with kids, I never use the word training, and I never use the word work, because kids don't want to do that shit. Right. They don't want to do that. I say, hey, do you want to learn some fun games to play with your dog? And say, let's do it. Let's go play some games. And we're just training. That's all we're doing. But the dog's going, all right, well, this is cool. I feel safe. I feel structured. This little creature over here that usually pisses me off is actually going to like give me some food. But they're
throw the ball.
They're also
feed me.
Well, then they're also going, okay, so boss mom, like she gives me instruction and I get a treat. You mean this little thing is also giving me instruction and giving me a treat? Oh, all right. Well, that's different. That flips this on its head a little bit. And then all of a sudden the dog is, looking at the little creature and saying, oh, I guess the little creature has some power here. And the little creature, AKA the child, I'll stop calling it a little creature. Guess who doesn't have kids? All of a sudden they have, and that's just, you got to give the kids some authority. Absolutely.
And we are going to do, I think we should do a whole live about kids and dealing with dogs, because that's
and it's okay calling them little creatures, because our kids are more like animals than our dogs are. So
all the time. So my sisters just had 2 babies. They each had a child like 3 months apart from each other. So I now have nephews, which is an awesome thing. I love being an aunt. But both my sisters and my friends have informed me that I talk to their kids like I talk to dogs. Like my friend's kid like picked something up and brought it over and said, yes. And I started saying that to my kid. I was like, good boy.
I do that too. I do the same thing.
Well, we're both teachers. So I mean, he's a high school teacher. I'm a substitute teacher. Yeah. I do the same thing all the time, and I have to be careful when I'm at school to not talk about the children in the same like training type of mode that I do with dogs.
Because I go into that house and those kids listen to me, because I'm like, I
bet they do.
No. Right? I told my sister I was going to clicker train her kids. I would love to do that.
I think that would work for Pub.
Yeah, it probably would.
Yeah.
JK.
Speaking of clicker train your kids, we got to clicker train our kids to bed.
Yeah. It's a school night.
Train more o'clock in the morning, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Kids and Puppies, SG Kennels, thank you for your comments tonight. I've been loving them. Kids and puppies are the same. You can't tell me different. I agree. They require the same amount of supervision. They require the same amount of rewards for the things that they do.
So maybe you can answer this parenting question. When the kids start to get on your nerves and you need a break, is it okay to put them in the crate or frowned upon?
Yeah. No, it's okay. Well, not in the actual crate, but we call it something different. We call it a room.
Timeout.
Yeah.
Or we also call it a tablet. Yeah.
I wish I could get a tablet for my dogs. All right, cool. So next time, I don't know. What do you guys want to talk about next time?
We'll figure that out.
Yeah,
we'll figure it out. Maybe I like the kid conversation. I like the kids and dogs. I feel like it's a smooth transition.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to look at some videos of your dogs though after what we've talked about today.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So if you guys want to contact Sarah, she's going to tell you exactly how to do so.
You can reach me via my website, which hopefully some of you visited to watch these videos. Again, if you're interested in what I was talking about today, if you're interested in what they were talking about, jump on the website and check out the videos under lives. If you go to my website, on every single page, you're going to see an area to click, and it's going to say schedule your free training consult. For my friends who would like to talk to me who are not local, feel free. Schedule your training consult regardless, and I'm going to be offering virtual training consults and some virtual sessions based on what your situation is. If it's something we can have a conversation about, you can make me some videos, cool. Just go on there, schedule a training consult in the notes or whatever, just say it's going to be virtual, and we'll do it via Zoom.
Excellent.
So feel free to Facebook message me. Feel free to jump on my website. Happy to talk about anything with you guys. And if you are interested in specifically what we talked about today, check out the videos. And feel free to check out any other videos. There are a lot of videos up there. I will let you know, for those of you who are interested, jump on within the week. I am going to take down the one video that is just the Heart and Soul Bully dogs doing their stuff at some point. Or I'm going to take it down and relabel it or do something, because right now it's just this random video.
Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay. It's all on our website, so they can look on our website, on our Instagram for that.
That'll get restructured a little bit, but the one with me doing this work with Harvey is up there and will stay up there.
Yeah, and that, I mean, if people want to jump from our Instagram, look at what we did, and then watch your video and be like, oh, Heart and Soul need to implement these activities into theirs, then you guys can watch what we do next week. Maybe we'll pop up a few videos and be implementing what Sarah is telling us to do. So that would be cool to watch.
Yeah, rock on.
All right, and for us specifically, we're Heart and Soul Bullies. We breed XL American Bullies. We have 2 litters coming up here. Hopefully sometime this winter. The first one is here with this beautiful girl. This is Cupcake.
Mikey.
And she's our higher drive lady, but also super sweet and super loving. And then we've got Voodoo, the couch potato behind me, who's the exact opposite of Cupcake, except for she's also super sweet and loving. But I think that's the breed in general, and also a big part of it is how we raise them. We also focus very heavily on obedience. Sometimes, clearly, if you watch our videos and you watch this video, maybe a little bit too much. Maybe not too much. I don't think it's too much.
It's fine. You just gotta transition.
You can find a better balance.
Yeah, maybe.
Better balance.
Yeah.
But if you have any questions about obedience and the stuff that we do, because clearly the one thing that I discussed that I feel very strongly about is the whole kids training, feeding, withholding if the dogs don't go with what we're doing. And if you have any questions about that, please feel free to text, message us.
Well,
anytime.
that's just one small element of the big picture that we do with our kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, God, yeah. We're going to talk about that next week.
Yeah.
Kids. Okay. Yeah. Awesome.
All right, that was fun. This is my favorite one so far, I think. This is awesome.
That was helpful. It was really good to be able to, I like it when people send me videos. So send me videos. It's a lot easier to help you guys if I can see what's going on for my friends who aren't local. Sorry, Hank's falling off. Hey, buddy. I think Hank has hit his limit right now.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
All
right.
All right, guys. Thanks for checking in, Sarah. This was awesome. See you next time.
Bye, Sarah. Thank you again. You're amazing.
Bye.